Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are tackling one of the absolutely coolest, most elegant tools in the entire machine learning toolkit. We're talking about Principal Component Analysis, or PCA for short. Let's just dive right into it. If you're working with data today, you're probably well aware that we are absolutely swimming in it. We aren't just collecting a few data points anymore. We're gathering hundreds, sometimes thousands of features for every single observation. Whether we're looking at high-resolution image pixels, complex financial indicators, or deep customer analytics, our datasets are literally massive. But here's the catch. More data doesn't always mean more information. A lot of the time, it just means more noise. So our goal today is to figure out exactly how PCA helps us cut through all that clutter to find the true underlying signal. To really appreciate why PCA is such a game changer, we have to understand the problem it's trying to solve. Data scientists call this the curse of dimensionality, which sounds super ominous, right? But imagine you're running a k-nearest neighbors algorithm, a standard KNN. In a 2- or 3-dimensional space, calculating the distance between data points is a total breeze. But what happens when your data has 10,000 dimensions? Calculating the distance between every new data point and all the existing ones across 10,000 features creates a crushing computational burden. Your model literally slows to a crawl. And honestly, it's worse than just being slow. Your accuracy can actually plummet because distances in such incredibly vast spaces start to become mathematically meaningless. So the big question is, how do we find the signal in all this high-dimensional noise without completely frying our computers?
The answer is dimensionality reduction. Think about it like this. Imagine you have to summarize a massive 500-page textbook into a tight 50-page study guide, but that guide still has to contain every single important concept you need for your final exam. You ditch the rambling anecdotes, you cut the repetitive examples, that's all the noise. But you keep the core theories and the critical formulas. That's your signal. PCA works exactly like this. It acts as a form of lossy compression for your datasets. It brilliantly reduces the sheer volume of data you have to process while meticulously holding on to its most valuable information.
Now, you might be wondering, how is this different from just picking the best columns in a spreadsheet? Well, there are two main ways to reduce dimensions: feature selection and feature extraction. Feature selection is just grabbing the best existing columns and tossing the rest. But PCA is way smarter than that. It uses feature extraction. Instead of just selecting what's already there, PCA creates entirely new, uncorrelated variables called principal components. It looks at the complex relationships between all your existing features and mathematically morphs them into a smaller, brand new set of features that captures the absolute essence of your original data. You aren't just dropping data here, you're distilling it. To see this in action, just look at how the data points here are spread out. Notice how they stretch out widely across the horizontal axis, but they barely move up or down vertically at all. That vertical axis, it really isn't giving us much useful information. So what if we just squash that data flat onto a single one-dimensional line? By projecting this two-dimensional data onto a one-dimensional line, we've instantly cut our dimensions in half. But the crazy part is, we've lost almost no information about how that data is actually spread out. We've effectively compressed the data both visually and mathematically. To really master how this works under the hood, we need to get comfortable with a few core concepts. And the absolute biggest one is variance. Now, please don't let the math jargon intimidate you. Variance literally just means the spread of the data. How stretched out is it? In the machine learning world, variance is a direct indicator of information content. Think about it. If a feature has zero variance, meaning every single data point has the exact same value, it tells us absolutely nothing useful. A feature with high variance, on the other hand, contains a ton of unique information. PCA's entire mission in life is to find the specific angles and projections that capture the maximum amount of variance. And that spread brings us to our next core concept, the eigenvector. Again, I know, it's a scary word for what is actually a very intuitive idea. Imagine a massive flock of birds flying across the sky. The eigenvector is simply an arrow pointing in the exact direction that flock is moving. In our dataset, an eigenvector merely points in the direction where the data has the most variance, the most spread. If your data is shaped kind of like a football, the primary eigenvector is just the line running straight down the longest part of that football. PCA is constantly calculating these vectors to figure out which specific angles hold the most information. Now, wherever there is an eigenvector, there is an eigenvalue right next to it. If the eigenvector is the direction we're pointing, the eigenvalue is the magnitude or the sheer strength of that direction. They tell us exactly how much variance is captured along that specific eigenvector. The absolutely crucial thing to understand here is that eigenvalues act as a built-in ranking system.
By looking at them, we can confidently say, okay, principal component 1 captures 60% of our data's information, but principal component 10 only captures 1%. It tells us the relative weight and importance of every new feature we've extracted.
So how do we actually execute this in code? It breaks down into a really neat 4-step sequence. Step 1 is mean subtraction. We just center our data by subtracting the mean from every single point, pulling the whole data set to a central 0 point. Step 2 is standardization, scaling the data so everything plays by the same rules. Step 3 is eigendecomposition. This is the real magic, where we compute the covariance matrix to find those exact eigenvectors and eigenvalues we just talked about. And finally, step 4 is projection, where we take our original data, multiply it by our top eigenvectors, and boom, we project it into our newly created lower dimensional space.
I want to pause here because I need to strongly emphasize step 2 of that workflow, standardization. If you take away literally just one practical tip from this entire explainer, let it be this. You absolutely must scale your data before applying PCA. Why? Because PCA is completely obsessed with variance. If you have one feature measured in the hundreds of thousands, like a house price, and another feature measured in single digits, like the number of bedrooms, the algorithm is going to get artificially skewed. It's going to incorrectly assume the house price is infinitely more important just because the raw numbers are bigger. By standardizing your data, giving it a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1, you ensure every feature gets evaluated fairly based on its actual patterns, not just its raw scale. Okay, the real aha moment usually happens right here when we look at a scree plot. This chart maps out exactly how much error we get when we try to reconstruct our original data using our new principal components. Just look at the curve here. See how the error just plummets off an absolute cliff right at the very beginning? This mathematically proves that the vast majority of our data's true information is contained in just those first few principal components. As we keep moving to the right, adding more and more components gives us almost zero extra benefit. We literally do not need all the original data to tell the whole story. Let's put a really concrete number to this to show you how powerful it is. In a highly complex image dataset, like the famous MNIST dataset of handwritten digits, every single image has 784 pixels. That means 784 dimensions. But by applying PCA, we can select just 550 principal components and still yield a near-perfect reconstruction. By dropping over 200 dimensions entirely, we still retain the vast majority of the true signal. That is a massive optimization.
Let's ground all these abstract mathematical concepts in reality for a second. Think about a real-world computer vision application. Take this handwritten digit 0 from that MNIST dataset we just mentioned. To you and me, it's just a number. But to a computer, it is a massive grid of numerical values representing pixel brightness. Analyzing millions of these images takes incredible computing power, and honestly, this is exactly the kind of scenario where PCA shines the brightest. Here's another quick example, a handwritten 8. As we just said, this single image has hundreds of data points when you flatten it out. But think about the image itself. Look at the edges. So many of those 784 pixels are just static black borders where nobody ever writes. They practically never change from image to image. They have zero variance. PCA instantly recognizes that these pixels are just redundant noise. It safely strips them away, completely ignoring the empty space, and hyper-focusing only on the pixels that actually form the curves and loops of the digits. And here is the actual result. This is a reconstructed digit using only a fraction of the original dimensions. Yeah, it's not perfectly crisp, it's a little bit lossy, but the essential signal, that core shape of the 0, is undeniably preserved. By compressing images like this using PCA, our machine learning models train drastically faster. They use significantly less storage space. And critically, they avoid overfitting because they're forced to focus on the broad underlying patterns rather than getting distracted by the noisy, irrelevant pixels on the margins. As we wrap up this analysis, let's just quickly summarize the actionable takeaways and the common beginner mistakes you definitely want to avoid. First, always standardize your numerical data before you start. Analyze your explained variance ratio using a scree plot so you aren't just blindly guessing how many components to keep. Don't keep too few and lose your signal, but don't keep too many and completely defeat the purpose of compression. Visualize your results in 2D or 3D to see if natural clusters form. And remember, PCA is often a pre-processing step. It works beautifully when you combine it with downstream tasks like clustering or classification. We've seen how principal component analysis can take chaotic, overwhelming, high-dimensional data and elegantly distill it down into its most powerful, informative essence. It saves time, it saves compute power, and ultimately, it makes our machine learning models far more robust. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Look at the massive data sets you're dealing with right now. If PCA can effectively filter out the noise, what hidden, highly valuable signals are currently buried in your data, just waiting to be discovered? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy building!